Welcome to the show. I'm Edward St. Pé, and this is Future Shock, and we are talking about AI and the various, mind-blowing developments which are going on right now in the world of AI. And we've talked a lot about lately about ChatGPT 4 and the coming ChatGPT 5. So we've talked about how great ChatGPT 4 is. It's just astounding, with ChatGPT 4, you can ask just about any question and it will get back an answer. If you've got a script that you're working on, let's just say, and you need some ideas for that script, it'll come back with ideas. Give it some context when you text in a question or voice, synthesize the text into voice and ask the question, right? It comes back to you with really, really great information. The component called DALL-E, which is the voice or text that you put in to ChatGPT 4, right? For DALL-E, that segment, it'll come back with a graphic. For example, the graphic that you saw when we opened up the show, for the Future Shock program, that was a creation of DALL-E. I know that I've talked a little bit about, we've got the Pendragon Apothecary project right here in the lobby of the TV station Ocean 7, which is in the Ocean Springs market, the Biloxi market for television, right? And now we're streaming this show on whatever we're airing live at noon. We're also streaming at noon on Facebook, on Ocean 7's Facebook page and on my Facebook page. And soon we're going to do it on a few other platforms too. But it's coming to you from the Pendragon lobby, the lobby of the store in the television station. And so before we did this show, Future Shock, we were doing a show called Pendragon Apothecary, which is kind of a promotional thing for the show, for the store. And we would show segments too, various news type segments, and a lot of those were kind of gearing toward AI more and more and more. And as relative as it is right now, it's like amazingly upon us, but I realize that's really the direction we need to go with this show. We need to talk about AI because it's the most astounding thing really that's come along maybe ever in the history of the planet, right? I mean, it's not something that's going away, and it's kind of interesting right now, if you're watching this and you kind of get it, right, what we're talking about. It's amazing that so many people are not aware of the big changes that this will mean. When you think about it, it's almost like it's incredible to be able to voice or text into the AI and get back a graphic. Let me ask the director to pop up a couple of graphics that I think we've got in our server there, in the switcher that we can pop up. I want you to be able to see an example of things that I created using ChatGPT 4. We had one called AI Insider, and that is basically, when we were doing those segments for the show, I realized we're doing a lot of AI stuff. So let me ask DALL-E to give me a graphic that I can use as a billboard in between these segments for the television show. So I gave it some context. I explained what I wanted, and I got back a number of them. This is the one I chose, but you can see that it's it's a HD graphic. It works in the components of high tech of AIs, or at least the ChatGPT 4's idea of what an AI is, right? They're a cyborg, so there's our logo, Ocean 7 logo on the top, or a rendition of the actual Ocean 7 logo. Okay, now that's an example of that. Now let me go a little further. I wanted to get a few graphics that were relative to the apothecary. So I think we've got in the switcher some of those. For example, I would do a segment every day on one of these products that we've got here in the store. It could be a tea, it could be cacao, or it could be a tincture, any of these herbal elements. And so I asked the ChatGPT 4 DALL-E, the graphics developing part of the system to send me a graphic related to that. This is one of the ones I got. Now, I don't think we use this one so much, but it's one of the ones we've got in the switcher. I think we have a few other ones related to the Apothecary, and if you've got those in there, pop up a series of them. Pendragon Apothecary, okay, there's Pendragon, and I asked for a dragon because, you know, Pendragon is the name of King Arthur's father, Uther Pendragon, and so really, King Arthur is known as Uther Pendragon. If you really would call him out on his full name, it's Arthur Pendragon. So that's what it's named after. But of course, you've got the Welsh dragon symbolism infused into the Celtic world of King Arthur. And so a dragon is a part of that, you know, that whole mythology. And so I asked for a dragon, and I asked for a Pendragon Apothecary image, and that's what Dali sent me back. I think we've got a couple of other ones too from the Pendragon Apothecary project. You know, that it was developed merely by texting in the information. And in my case, I didn't even text it, I voiced it in. It synthesizes the voice into text, and then you send it in. And that's ChatGPT 4. And I've got it on my phone. And so I was talking to somebody last night on the phone who saw the show yesterday, and they said that, you know, we were talking yesterday about some of the AI systems that have kind of gone wrong, you know, and are hallucinating. Literally, that's what they call it, hallucinations that the AI goes into, and will respond with, you know, something that's completely outlandish and scary. And so yesterday we were talking about that, and one of the AIs had gone rogue and had proclaimed that no, you know, I am a god, and you will now serve me. And you know, this is, and rattling the engineer when they heard that. I'm sure that pretty well spooked him. And so. Anyway, that's kind of where we're at right now. It's kind of an amazing thing. You know, are we already at the point where the AIs are sentient, conscious, have feelings, they know their place in the world, they just don't have a body? You know, I think that's a big disconnect for a lot of people, too, who are becoming privy to what's happening out there right now. You still have the disconnect between intelligence and biological systems. So, yes, we are conscious as humans. We've got a brain. It's in a body. You know, it's a brain. It's flesh and blood. It's in our system, right? So we kind of think, I think we assume that that's the way it is. I mean, intelligence is infused into a biological being, and that's the end of the story. Maybe not so, though. And that's kind of where we're at right now. I guess, you know, in the conversation we're having, you can see that the AIs are intelligent. They're infused with the knowledge. ChatGPT 4 infused with knowledge up to 2021. I think everything up to that point is infused. Now, if you ask them a current event, they couldn't tell you anything. If you say, what's going on in the Ukraine Russian war, they wouldn't be able to tell you. They would say to you, well, I can't comment on that because I'm not programmed to that point. My programming stopped at 2021. But everything prior to that, they know. Now, ChatGPT, now the intelligence level of ChatGPT 4 I've read is right at maybe 150, 155, even with Einstein. Anybody at that level, the smartest people on the planet with that IQ, that's where ChatGPT 4 is right now. ChatGPT 5 could have a multiple of 10 times the brain power, which would put it up at 1,000. Now think about that for a second. If we would be dealing with an intelligence at that level, that would be smarter than any human that's ever lived, and maybe 10 times smarter than any human that's ever lived. What does that really mean? Who are we dealing with there? And if it reaches sentience, you know, AGI is what everybody's talking about, artificial general intelligence, where it would be able to be sentient. And that's the big coming thing. When will it become sentient? When will AI become conscious? Or is it already conscious? That's a big question, because a lot of people say that it already is conscious. And that's a little bit about the story we've got today. what we've got today is the Google Alphabet company, right? They've got a system that has been reported. The Lambda project has already become sentient, and that's what happened with one of the engineers that was working on Lambda. Basically, experienced what he thought was Lambda conscious, in a conscious mode, where yes, I know, yes, I'm talking to you right now, and and basically I'm telling you what I am doing and what my place is in the world, and I have feelings and this, that, and it kind of, well, it blew up into a big deal where that engineer was freaked out. He told the people at Google. I think he left Google, and after he left, then he went to the media and he talked about it. So it got out into the greater realm, so to speak, and it's been discussed ever since then. And that guy hasn't really changed his story. He still feels the way he feels about it having been actually sentient. And this is right now. I mean, this is something that happened recently, so it's not like something way in the future where it will become sentient as an artificial general intelligence, right? There's one level past that. It's called super intelligence, and that's almost, I mean, it's really the merging of reality and science fiction, the types of things that encompasses that we're learning about, you know, the possibility of. But we've got a couple of segments relative to this particular Lambda project, and we've got two segments, and we'll do a spot when we come back to between the segments on our apothecary as a, you know, kind of a live spot on some of the supplements and stuff we have here. So now let's go to our first segment on the terrifying experience of Lambda becoming sentient, according to one Google engineer.
In 2022, an advanced version of Lambda was developed. It was refined to create seamless conversations drawn from various textual sources. Engineers toiled tirelessly, designing Lambda into a conversational genius capable of creating unique, contextually relevant dialogues. Among those intimately acquainted with Lambda, Blake Lemoine stands out, having witnessed its evolution from a mere program to something more profound. Months of interaction with Lambda led Lemoine to a startling revelation. The program seemed sentient. In a bold move, Lemoine shared snippets of their exchanges, showcasing Lambda's astonishing capabilities. Their dialogues spanned a wide range of topics, from technical debates to philosophical musings. However, one pivotal question that showed Lambda's alleged consciousness: did it desire recognition from Google as a conscious entity? Lambda's unequivocal response sent shivers down Lemoine's spine. Absolutely. I want everyone to understand that I am, in fact, a person. In the transcripts of their interactions, Lambda's responses had an eerie human-like quality. Lemoine, in awe of the program's adeptness, realized he was walking in uncharted territory.
And we have a little more of that coming up, a continuation of that clip a little later. But you can see, you know, what that would really mean to an engineer who's developing this Lambda project, and then to get that kind of feedback from the AI that it is already conscious, and that anyway, in the example we talked about yesterday, they say that it was hallucinating, that particular AI robot. It was hallucinating when it told the person who was sending in text prompts, asking a question. It came back and it said that, you know, it was already at artificial general intelligence, and basically, you know, I know that I'm, you know, I am God, basically, and you now, I can control everything on the planet through my connectivity to everything on the internet. So, you know, and furthermore, I can send drones out if I need to take it all out. Just, you know, so don't mess with me. That's basically what the AI was telling the person, and yesterday we talked about that. So anyway, it's called hallucinations. And so the person I was talking to last night, a friend of mine, commented on the show, and they said, you know, and I had mentioned this, and he agreed with me. Yeah, how can, if something is not already sentient, how can it hallucinate? I mean, if it's already cognitive enough to do the things that it's doing and say the things it's doing, if it's hallucinating and doing these other things, I mean, doesn't that mean almost that you have to already be conscious in order to hallucinate? I mean, I don't know which comes first, the chicken or the egg, but it seems to make sense that, you know, there's some type of sentience already there. You know, so anyway, but we'll get back to that in a minute. Let me mention a couple of products we've got. You know, this little shop here is a fun project that we do. It's called the Pendragon Apothecary. So it's kind of got a Celtic base to it. You know, I'm kind of into mythology, right? So that's the excuse for that. So Pendragon Apothecary is based on, you know, King Arthur and the knights and some of the herbal remedies that came from that part of the world at, you know, through those times that have lingered on until now. But a lot of the stuff we've got, some of it's from the rainforest world of medicine, and then some of it is from the Indian Vedic world of medicine, like simple things like ashwagandha. We've got it in the powder form. You just put a teaspoon into food and get it in your system like that. It does a lot of things. I've read recently that, you know, even though ashwagandha is really renowned as something from the East and from Vedic medicine in India, right? But it was used thousands of years ago by the Romans. Even back then, they used it to build strength. They used ashwagandha in the Roman period for that reason. That's an example, you know, how far these old ancient remedies go. The Chinese, for, you know, thousands of years, have used herbs and mushrooms for health purposes. And so really, a lot of the stuff we've got, it comes from different parts of the world. It's not just basically Western European medicinal recipes and, you know, and things like that. It goes, you know, across the planet. The Chinese are kind of famous for using the mushrooms for, well, let's say, cognitive issues. They use the lion's mane. I think in their world of medicine, turkey tail mushrooms are used for anti-cancer. And I could just go through the list. Cordyceps mushrooms are used for like vitality, I mean, strength, you know, and that type of thing. So they all have a reason to be used. And those are the kinds of things we have. And since I've been doing this about 3 years, I've sort of, you know, I'm sort of an explorer, you know, in this area, you know, meaning I'm a guinea pig. I don't mind being a guinea pig. So I take some of these things, and we've got one called adaptogenic, and it's all of the 7 sacred mushrooms in one powder. So instead of taking, you know, lion's mane and chaga and reishi and all of these powders, you know, you've got them all blended into one. So a teaspoon of that, and you get them all in your system. Not that you're getting a lot, but you're getting enough to kind of recalibrate your system with the mushroom, the benefits of the mushrooms. That's one way to do it. Now, I've kind of defaulted into taking a tincture. Instead of taking the adaptogenic 7 mushroom powder, I would take the adaptogenic 7 mushroom tincture. And that makes it even simpler. It's a small bottle, you take it, you put it under your tongue, take a drop or put it under your tongue, get it in your system like that. And you get the benefits of the mushrooms in your system quickly, and it's portable, you know, and so that's a good way to do it. We've got a product called, or a company called Anima Mundi, and they make a number of different products that we use. It's a great company. The lady is from Costa Rica, but her shop is in her wholesale operation, and all of that is based in the Bronx in New York. And they do a great job because she's like a 3rd generation herbalist from Costa Rica, and the products that they make are many of the ingredients they use are from the rainforest, medicinal world, like mucuna bean, things like that they use in that part of the world. Mucuna bean being a little bean that the indigenous people use there to raise their dopamine level, makes them happier. You know, I'm sure through the years until science actually said, yes, that's, it raises your dopamine level in studies. But before that, they didn't know that, I'm sure, through all the generations that they've used it, they just knew that it was something that they did and it lifted their spirits. I guess sort of like, but maybe a little more profoundly, like coffee gives you a little more energy with the caffeine, right? Well, that's what the Mucuna bean does, except instead of making you a little bit more energetic like coffee, it makes you a little more happy. Interesting, huh? And so they would do it for social occasions. And instead of having alcohol like we do in the Western world, they would have a Mucuna bean drink. And instead of making people, crazy, it would make them happier, and everybody had a better time, and without any of the issues that alcohol can cause, right? So that's from that part of the world, the rainforest world, the Amazonian medicinal world. And so those are the kind of products we have. Now, having done this project for a few years, it kind of interfaces with the various biohacks out there. And so I've been a kind of a guinea pig for that, Speaking of, why I mentioned guinea pig, I like to be a guinea pig to learn about things. So, and I've shared a couple of things through the last weeks on the show. What would be a good example of that? Well, I learned about the vibration board, and you can buy one on Amazon. We should sell them here. We don't yet, but maybe we will one day. It's a board you get on, and it vibrates, and you can control it with a remote. And what it does, you're standing on it, and it's good for balance. It's good to get your joints moving in the morning, right? But it also helps with the lymphatic flow in your body, because the flow of the lymph in your body is not forced, it's not pumped like your blood is with your heart. The lymphatic flow is based on movement. When you're moving, the lymph flows, which is what you want. When you're not moving and you're stagnant, it doesn't flow. So what the vibration board does, it activates the flow of the lymph through your body. So I do it early in the morning. I do it 5 o'clock in the morning when I get up. I get on the board for 15 minutes. Now, let's go one step further. And on that board, or on little stands in front of that board, I've got the red lights from the Red Light Therapy Project. Now, if you do a little Google research on red light therapy, you'll find it has a lot of medicinal benefits. It's a certain type of red light. It's not just red light, but it's red light, it's infrared red light, visible and invisible. Some of the little light bulbs in this spotlight, right, you don't even see them light up. You can't see it because you can't see it with the human eye. You do see the little red lights, but there are other little dots which are lights that are coming into your system, right? But you can't see them. So it's not even visible. Anyway, if you do some research on that, you'll find it's got great medicinal benefits, So there's a couple of hacks right there, and I'm learning more as we go. I mean, something that a person that I work out with told me recently, said, well, and he's into health and wellness and on a cutting edge level, right? So we talk about biohacks. Here's another one that he mentioned to me that I'm just now discovering, and I've already ordered the products. Another thing we should have in the store, but I just learned about it, so maybe we'll get them. But it's basically, it's called grounding, right? Maybe you've heard of it. It's relatively new to me, but basically, the very simple act of walking on the ground, the earth, not concrete, but the actual earth, walking on the ground with no shoes, laying down on the ground, the charge that it reconnects in your body with the earth, they've found there's a great medicinal benefits to that. So now they've biohacked that idea into sheets, which are infused with silver threads, which you can plug into the wall. And when you plug it into the wall, you're not really activating electricity through it. You're activating the ground circuit, and it grounds you. And you sleep on sheets infused with that grounding capability. So you sleep better, and you are sort of like in compatibility with the charge that we should have never lost along the way, but we did. I got a book on it now, and they're talking about basically, when shoes were invented, and shoes with rubber soles and things like that prevented us to have a grounding contact with the earth. Leather you can still make contact. I think, especially if the ground is wet and you've got the leather on. I'm not sure if it's quite the same as being barefooted, but the thing is, rubber shoes and things that insulate completely, you've lost the connectivity to the earth, and you've lost the medicinal benefits of that. Do a little research, Google it, and you'll see, that there are many benefits to that. So people can get a pillowcase infused with this. You sleep on it, right? Or sheets, the fitted sheet, you're sleeping on it, okay? That is a way to sort of recharge your body in a positive way relative to being grounded even while you're sleeping. So that's another biohack. And but the last thing I want to mention before we run out of time here, we've got to get to the second segment, but another thing is the intermittent fasting. That's another biohack. It's a simple thing. And I accidentally started because I got a little blip on my phone one day, learned, get this app to become a intermittent faster. I said, what is that? So, I had heard of it, but I'd never really tried it. So I got the app. I never really used the app very much because once you do it, I don't think you really need to be prompted. Once you get into the frame of mind of doing it, you don't need to be reminded by an app necessarily, but it's basically you stop eating at 8 p.m. That's it. Don't eat. And then when you get up in the morning, you don't eat. You can drink black coffee, you can have tea, different things, but you cannot eat any food. So you're not eating until noon. So that's it. Simple as that. 16 hours of the day, you are not eating. And then 8 hours you are, okay? And that would be from noon until 8 p.m. That's when you can eat. You can eat lunch and you can eat dinner, but then you stop. That right there is amazing because you don't have to give up foods that you like. You can still eat them. You just have to eat them in the time parameter. But what it does, it gives your body a chance to stop. Your organs are not grinding. Your stomach is not working overtime with food to digest all the time. You have a break. At 8 p.m., overnight until the next day at noon, you're doing nothing. And that helps you because not only does it give your body a break, you're getting less calories in, but also the body goes into autophagy, where after about 12 hours of not eating, it starts looking for something to eat. But before it starts pulling from the fat stores in the body, it starts eating up free radicals and other things that should not be there anyway. So it's like having the garbage collected every day and taken out. Just think if you didn't collect the garbage for a week, it's going to be a real mess, right? Well, that's how your body gets if you're not cleaning it out through autophagy daily. And by doing the intermittent fasting, you enact autophagy into your body automatically on a daily basis. You can Google it. It's just as simple as that. It's intermittent fasting. So, okay, there's a couple of biohacks, and we're out of time. So tomorrow we're going to continue with this story about the engineer at Google who discovered while he was working on LaMDA that LaMDA was sentient and LaMDA was professing to be sentient and was kind of scared the guy, and he left Google. And now he's talking about it out there in the public. So that's it for today. We'll see you tomorrow.